few weeks ago, I did a show on the late morning program with Namarasa, and we discussed different views of devotees, both conservative and liberal, and we just had a discussion about it and how we're going to work in ISKCON with devotees on different sides of the equation and trying to understand where they're coming from and so forth. And just last week, 3 of my godbrothers on different occasions called me or wrote me and said, did you say you don't use Prabhupada's Gita, or did you say we shouldn't use Prabhupada's Gita, or we can't use Prabhupada's Gita? I think they were referring to in classes for new devotees, because we did discuss this. And I just wanted to clarify that I didn't say that. What I did say was that some devotees do not use Prabhupada's Gita when they're introducing the Gita. And we discussed why. It wasn't a judgment as it being right or wrong. I never said that it's my intention to do that, and that I've ever done it. But just discussing realities of the world today, and issues like women are less intelligent, or anything that makes one class of people look better or give them a superior position, is difficult for people to understand. Obviously, there is hierarchy in the world, but nowadays people want to make everything equal, and people are extremely sensitive to prejudice, which of course is pervading. And of course, the pure devotee cannot possibly be prejudiced because he sees everyone as spirit soul. But there are extreme sensitivities to that. And so some devotees have chosen to introduce people to the Gita, to a Gita that doesn't talk about that in the beginning. Does that mean they're not going to introduce Prabhupada's Gita? Of course not. It's just a bridging. It's a bridging way to ensure that the people they're speaking to, who are obviously sensitive to these issues, don't turn their back on ISKCON and say, I want nothing to do with this organization. Do they have to do that? That was not the discussion. But what I can say is what we have to do is become expert at explaining contextually Prabhupada's statements, and also explaining who Srila Prabhupada is, and explaining his vision and how it's impossible for him to be racist. And many of these statements, of course, are social statements, not philosophical statements about varnashram. And they do need explaining, even for devotees. It's not always clear why Prabhupada says what he says. So our duty in our tradition is to explain. We have a tradition called Bhasya tradition. Even some authors write commentaries on their own books. And so as the disciplic succession comes down, you'll see there's so many commentaries that Prabhupada used on Bhagavatam. So it's our job also, and some people think this sounds strange, to write commentaries on things that Prabhupada said. That's actually our job. We're not overstepping him. We're helping people understand Prabhupada. We want to bring people closer to Prabhupada. So that's my personal understanding. Again, I did not say I don't use Prabhupada's Gita. I have read my godbrother's Gitas. We have a few out there. I've learned from them. They've opened me up to different angles of vision on different verses. Have I used them in my public presentations of the Gita? No. Have I thought of using them? No. Will I ever use them? I can't say I never would. But for the record, as of date, I haven't. And I don't have anything on my calendar in the near future for doing so. So I just wanted to clarify that. And this, the last thing I want to say is that sometimes when people look at Srila Prabhupada's books, they think, oh, I wish we could take this out. And I said, I think when the copyrights are up, people will do that. They'll print Prabhupada's books without a few statements that they feel that just could turn people away from ISKCON. The BBT is never going to do that. They don't have the right to do that. We actually don't have the right to take something out that Prabhupada said unless we ask him. What we have to do is explain it so people understand specifically what Prabhupada was meaning, what meant by that, and understand the context of everything Prabhupada said about this. Because if they read one isolated statement out of hundreds of things Prabhupada said, they may misunderstand. So that's our duty. And that's all I wanted to say. Hare Krishna.